During that time when Vincent was protesting, it was when the Aboriginals finally had a realization that they were not getting the respect and recognition that they deserve, as it is their land and that we live on. Therefore, on the 23rd of August 1966, Vincent Lingiari led 200 courageous Indigenous stockmen and their families to walk off Wave Hill Cattle Station in the Northern Territory, protesting against the work and pay conditions. They did this for 9 years. The reason as to why the year 1966 was so important was because they finally got the courage to protest for not only for the little money that they were working for, but for the respect, recognition, and most importantly, for basic human rights, like as simple as becoming an Australian citizen. Between the years of 19,000 and the 1960s, the Aboriginals were granted a very little right to vote. However, this was under a very limited condition, such as only Aboriginal ex-servicemen and ex-servicewomen were only allowed to vote. The New South Wales Aborigines Welfare Board controlled Aboriginal lives until the 1960s, pursuing policies that are not acknowledged as having contributed to the destruction of Aboriginal families and society by separating children from their parents. These children became known as the Stolen Generation and are still searching for their families. They now number between 1,500,000 and 200,000 in New South Wales alone. During World War I, around 500 Aboriginal people enlisted in the army forces. During this time, the state government continued to remove Australian children from their families, including youngsters whose families were serving overseas. Vincent Lingiari hoped to improve the rights and freedoms of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people by gathering a group of people to protest from the area of Wave Hill Station to Wattle Creek, which is a 30-kilometre walk. Vincent and the group did this protesting for 9 years until they finally got the attention and recognition they deserve. Across the nation, things were starting to change for Indigenous people. The Wave Hill Walk-Off started just 1 year after Charlie Perkins led the Freedom Riot across New South Wales to protest against discrimination Indigenous people face. And a year later, in 1967, over 90% of Australians voted in favour of counting Indigenous people in the census. On Australia Day of 1972, the Aboriginal Tent Embassy was set up outside Parliament House in Canberra. Australian people were starting to take notice and think differently.